Champions League quarterfinals 2023-2024 season. Real Madrid eliminates Manchester City out of the competition against all odds. A lot of people didn't give them a chance and thought City was the best team in the world right now. But Real Madrid, with a history backing them with 14 Champions League in their cabinet today, have eliminated Manchester City, now are in the Champions League, the quarterfinals onto the semi-finals now, where they'll be playing Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena for the first leg, and the second leg, of course, we'll be playing at the Santiago de Bernabeu. But today we want to look into the game, the tactical play. There's so much talk over Real Madrid being defensive or not defensive. Did they have to be defensive to qualify through? The tactical breakdown of Carlo Ancelotti, now he's called Don Carlo Ancelotti, his tactics to be able to beat Manchester City. And I've got Kin here with me. Kin, welcome. But let's go straight into action. Many didn't give Real Madrid a chance, especially at the Etihad facing Manchester City, but they managed to do it.
Yes, I think because of the way Man City plays, I think a lot of people just believe that they will win the game. But for me, when a big team, one of the biggest teams in the world, is playing in the competition that they love, that they cherish the most out of all the trophies, I believe that a lot of fans went with how the recent form in terms of how Man City are playing, rather than looking at both teams and thinking, okay, this is Madrid and this is Man City. What would Madrid do? Would Madrid turn up on the game? Because year after year, Madrid turns up on Champions League. They get to the quarter or the semi-finals every single year. The last couple of years, Madrid has always been in the semi-finals. So it seems like people were too, I would say, hasty in terms of making a decision. They didn't look at the game. They rather look at the form of the team at the moment. And so they looked at the last couple of games and they realized that, okay, Man City were winning games. Man City in the last 2 years has been probably the best team in the world because of their consistency in terms of winning. But you're playing a team that loves the competition, that finds a way to win the competition. So you expect them to some way, somehow push City to the edge. And a lot of fans didn't see that, except the Madrid fans, except some few people in the world that kind of realize it's Madrid. Madrid will always find a way.
Absolutely. But let's look at the games, both legs. The first leg, we know what happened in the first leg. Tactically, Real Madrid approached the first leg quite different. At home, at the Estadio Santiago de Bernabeu, the tactics was quite different. They went quite open in the first half. Probably from the second half of the first leg, that's where they decided to sack, or sit back a bit. And then, obviously, first leg, remember under a few minutes, Bernardo Silva took City the lead when they went ahead 1-0. And then Rodrygo equalized, and then Madrid topped up 2-1. And then City came back 2-2, and then scored another third goal. And then Valverde came back with the third goal that equaled the game and set up the all to play for in the second leg, in Etihad. Now think about this, thinking about Etihad, the game at Etihad was always going to be difficult because the ways Man City plays. So
True.
The fans' favorite or the pundits' favorite or everyone's favorite was gonna be Man City. But don't think about it happen against all odds.
I think people forget one thing. When you play a Guardiola team, you're always going to lose possession. So if you're losing possession, you have to make sure your tactics is right in terms of being compact. So let's break down the first game. The first game, Madrid opened up at the beginning.
First half, yeah.
We matched them face for game for game, man for man. And within a few minutes, they scored. We know they're capable of doing that. We know they have the players to do that. And then, towards the second half, Ancelotti kind of realized that if they open too much, Pep Guardiola was beginning to break the game down the way he wants the game to. He started to take the game the way he wants it to be played. And if you look at the squad, they didn't have Kyle Walker at that game, and which we know Kyle Walker was going to come back. So we know he's going to block the crossing from Vinicius because he's gonna be the man
Toe
marking
to toe with
Vinicius,
Vinny.
and he's fast. He has a pace, so he can cover even if he loses ground. He has the pace to cover. So I think he realized that in order to get to the next round, something has to give, and well, you can match the man for man and lose the game, and fans will be happy anyway because fans will believe that they played well, but City were more superior. So Madrid fans are happy even when they lose a game because they want the team to play better.
Exactly.
But sometimes you have to dig into the part where a lot of people believe that Madrid is not a defensive team or cannot defend, cannot secure a point based on they're more focused on attacking. So yes, but we have the players too that can defend, and everybody was compact. But I feel like what it was is that when you come to Etihad Stadium, I feel Man City were always gonna be good. They were always gonna deliver. They were always gonna play the ball the way they want.
But City did take the pace in the second half in the Bernabeu, and let's also not forget that this is Santiago de Bernabeu. It's Real Madrid's home grounds where the strength, the fans are, the roof. The roof was on. The chanting and the noise and everything, all of it impact, results as well. Because obviously, you have a small portion of away supporters coming in, and then the impact of the game. But I just think that if you look at the game, 1v1, Real Madrid can equally hurt City, as much as City can equally hurt Real Madrid. And looking at both teams on the counter attack, I think Madrid obviously edges City on that. Madrid not playing with no typical number 9 also gives City that edge in terms of Haaland, who was quiet throughout the 2 legs,
Yes, he was quiet.
But for Madrid to sit back, and I was a bit concerned about Carlos, his approach towards the game, because the whole idea was let City have the ball, let's stay in shape and defend. So let's flip it. If Madrid had lost the game, they would have lost the game purely because they didn't play their game.
Okay, I think
because it was very close. It was a very, very close margin between the fine lines.
Yeah, it was close.
And if they had lost the game, it would have been clearly because they did not play their game.
That's what I said. I think what it was I think City were controlling the ball in the midfield. Once they control the ball in the midfield, you're either going to match them for someone that can control the ball, which can control the pace of the game. And I think towards the second, if you look towards the second leg, the end of the second leg, when Luka Modric came up, City's control of the game reduced a little bit.
In the first leg.
Yeah. So when he came on, he reduced. Even in the second leg, when he came on, he reduced a little bit because they were a bit concerned because he was on the pitch, because they realized that he would start dictating the game.
Ball juggler,
a bit different from the other players that were on. So my whole experience is that I think when you watch City play and you know how City play, you know how Pep Guardiola puts his team out, you know the quality of the players on the team. I think if Ancelotti has lost that game, I think the fans should have been more annoyed because they did not attack. But
Absolutely.
Looking at the first game, he believed that if they were more compact, they wouldn't be able to break them down as easy as they done the first game, the goals that they scored. Because if you look at the goals they scored, even in the second game, that was an error from Rodrygo.
Yeah.
If Rodrygo cleared the ball, Kevin De Bruyne would not have had that chance to score that goal.
But the pressure that was mounting, I mean,
there was going to be an error.
The pressure was mounting. In the second leg, you look at Pep. Obviously, was very clever and he knew what he wanted to do. So I was a bit concerned about not that Madrid didn't have the men to keep the ball, but it was Pep still sticking to his ideologies and let's press on. Let's create 1v1 situations from the wide areas, especially with Grealish and also with Bernardo Silva. I thought Mandy, with both legs, I thought Mandy played very well against, Bernardo Silva, whoever played on his side. But obviously Carvajal also did well, but it was a bit tough for him, playing 1v1 with Grealish. But that was what Pep wanted to do.
Doku.
And then he changed and Grealish and brought Doku on, and Doku started piling the pressure. Because Doku, both feet, he can twist and turns and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, he can move different
up
directions.
Until Real Madrid brought on Militao, who doubled up on Doku's side when Carvajal had already gone off, and then you had Lucas Vazquez on, and then Militao doubling up on Doku, and that was where that threat stopped. So the biggest concern for me is, yes, every team needs to win games. All games are important. At this stage of the competition, it's a quarterfinal. Who cares? However you set up, however you play, and however you go through. But the flip side is, if they had lost the game, it would have purely been on the basics of Madrid not really performing to the standard of the team. Guess what? They defend, they concede, they open up, they score. So first 20 minutes, Madrid opens up, attack City. What's his name? Rodrygo scores.
Rodrygo scores, yeah.
Real Madrid stays compact, allows City to have the ball, and then City scores.
Yeah.
So for me, I just kind of feel that, yes, fortunately they went through, but it would have been a bit more harsh on the team, Madrid, if they had lost.
I think if they've lost, I think the players would have been upset with the formation, with the tactics.
Absolutely.
Because if you remember a few years when Ronaldo was there, when Mourinho played a bit defensive and the players were upset because they believed that they could attack the game. They could do more than defending.
And that was when
games.
After Carlo Ancelotti came in and he gave them the freedom to play.
To move on. So sometimes I feel when you're playing a number that you know is very good and can figure out a way to break you down, I think that's why he went defensive for that game, that second leg. But for me, I think what worried him was the 2 goals that Man City scored in the second half of the first game.
Yeah,
I think those goals were out of nothing, and I think that those 2 goals are the goals that when a team score against you, it kind of stick to your head because you kind of realize that okay, they can score a goal out of nothing. Yeah, we've isolated Haaland.
Yeah.
There's no Kevin De Bruyne, and they can still score goals like this.
Speaking about Haaland, let's go 1v1 now. Player to player. Haaland, Rudiger.
I think I've watched him play against Rodrygo and Van Dijk. I think he tends to struggle with the physical players. I think he's a presence in the box, but then I think when you have someone like Rodrygo that's also a presence and also wants what they say, he wants the smoke. He wants that matchup because he wants to feel how good it is. He wants to know that you are the best striker in the world and I am one of the best defenders in the world. So I want to see how good you are against me. And I think that's what great players do because they want to challenge himself against the best of the best out there.
Does it also, battles up with, or does it beefs up what Roy Keane said the other day about Haaland? I thought Roy Keane had a fair point when he said maybe the comparison saying a League 2 player, or he plays like a League 2 player. I thought that was probably a little bit harsh. But when you look at Haaland's all-round game, there's something missing. He's not he's not a footballer.
I've always said that.
He's a goal poacher.
Yeah, I've always said that to people.
So every time City goes a bit more tiki-taka, he gets missing because they don't play the ball to him into the what we call like attack ball. As a striker, you want to attack final balls and stuff like that. But every time they go tiki-taka, it's about vision, it's about finding the pockets, and Haaland doesn't do too well in the pockets. So probably that also gave Rudiger a lot of chance to defend against him.
Like I said, when people compare him and Mbappe, that's the difference.
Big difference.
The difference is, okay, I will keep Mbappe out of this equation now. I'll just give an example. Nunes can drop deep, can get the ball, can move, can pass the ball and move. Haaland seems to struggle to drop deep, pass the ball, move. Know where he wants the ball to be and then move to that pocket and someone puts the ball to that pocket and then he moves and then he knows when next am I going to put the ball. I think he tends to struggle. He's an old-fashioned number nine where you put the ball there, he strikes the ball. So he knows where the goal is and he'll always put the ball in the net if he gets the chances. But teams always going to realize that this is the movement. Once you can lock up these pockets, he would not be able to play very well. So I have always said that. And now let's go back to, I've used Nunes as a comparator because that's the same. That's Nunes in his league. Now let's go back to Mbappe. Mbappe, we know, can play 3 different positions up front.
Yeah, absolutely.
When somebody can play that positions, they can also pass the ball. They know where the pocket is. They know how to move around. You watched him with Messi. You watched him with Neymar. Now you're watching Dembele. He knows where to be. He knows where to move the ball. So for me, I feel people knew this about Haaland, but turned a blind eye to it because he was scoring many goals last season. And I said when he came to the league, I said, once people figure him out and figure out the movement he makes,
They'll
the
start
goals
closing
will
down.
start drying because he's just a pure goal scorer. And in the Premier League, a lot of these defenders are quite what they watch you and they pick what you do.
And they kind of move you as well in that
Yes,
same direction.
they know where to put
usher
you.
you in the
Yes,
same direction.
so they say, okay, if he's gonna go right, stick to him, take him out to the left or right, and you know he's not gonna be able to score goals from there. So the Premier League knows how to do that very well. But the strikers in La Liga and German leagues and all these leagues, they are more of the movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if they move the ball, they know that okay, if I give you the if they kept the ball and they want the ball, where they go, they pass the ball back to you and they run to the pocket. They knowing that they're gonna find him, so they can move around.
Into the pocket. Vinny Walker, second leg. Based on the tactics Madrid played,
I think that's what affected Vinny's game. I think when Vinny gets the ball, he was isolated on the place, and he had to dribble, go past Kyle Walker, and there's no one to support. So most times when there's nobody to support and you're so deep down and the players are so deep defending, by the time the ball comes up front, they're tired already because they've been running around trying to get the ball.
But City also played high line, so they play a bit more high line.
But we didn't use it.
On the high pitch, but
Walker Madrid didn't use it. Yeah, Madrid didn't use it properly. Madrid didn't enjoy the high line. Madrid, if City played this high line, let's say a few years ago when Benzema was there,
or
Ronaldo was there, they would have been destroyed by now because at the time we would have had Casemiro, Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric on the pitch. So imagine we had a control of the game and they were controlling the game, and we say, okay, you have the ball, and then Madrid comes back from the other side.
Talking about that, Kevin De Bruyne, Toni Kroos. In the second leg, I thought Toni Kroos was completely lost out of the game. I thought he was one of the reasons why Madrid struggled in terms of passing the ball a bit more to the goalkeeper, because usually he's the man that shows up for the pass. He opens up space and he receives the ball. City was so clever; they kept him in the box and they kind of pressed him down, and the ball constantly.
They never allowed them time on the ball.
Do you know what I mean? The ball constantly came back to Mandy. Mandy had to go back. Mandy's a defender; he doesn't attack too much.
Yeah.
So there was a pressure on the goalkeeper in that sense. Kevin De Bruyne, Toni Kroos.
I think that's a lot of people do not. I think a lot of people say Kevin De Bruyne is good, but I think sometimes they underestimate his ability because, for one, he doesn't take a lot of the glory. We know he can pass the ball. We know he can make assists, but sometimes I don't think they understand how much he takes a game.
Yeah.
I think Toni Kroos too can do that, but I feel Toni Kroos needs somebody next to him that is on the same understanding and on the same. I wouldn't say Camavinga is not on the same understanding, but I think the way he has played with Luka Modric for a while, I think in certain big games, I think playing both of them together creates that understanding and that confidence.
That rhythm and dynamics.
Yeah. So once he knows that that's this person, if I let the ball because again, it's that close control. Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri, these boys can hold the ball whilst they're getting attacked by 3-4 guys, and they can still protect the ball and still make the moves they want, the pass they want. I think Toni Kroos can do that, but when you feel isolated in the middle and you feel you're the only one at that time that can create these chances, create these passes, it puts so much pressure on you, and then sometimes the pressure amounts to you always try not to lose the ball, and if you don't want to lose the ball, you always start to be safe and pass the ball backwards, and then reset yourself to go. And I think that's why, if you notice, they kept pressing him and they never gave him a chance on the ball, and until Luka Modric came on, and then he created a bit of space, and towards the end, Man City was getting tired, so they tried to create space. But I just think the game, there was a lot of one-on-one matchup, but I think the way they play and the formation and some of the players on the pitch, I feel, did not help the way the game went on.
Okay, so Camavinga, Rodri. Yes, I just think Camavinga, for me, fumbled a lot. He did fumble a lot in majority part of the game, losing balls in the middle, and I thought his decision making was very not at par, especially with the type of tactics they were playing. Every time they had the ball, his positioning was good, in terms of his movement off the ball, on the ball. You could tell there was a lot of rehearsals done on training grounds, how to be able to stop Foden from scoring the goal he scored in in the first leg. So you could tell somebody always slotted into that position. But against Rodri, I thought Rodri for me.
Yeah, the thing is that I think Man City players are right now, they're very, very good. I don't think anyone can like right now the best defensive midfielder in the world is Rodri. I don't think anyone comes close to him because I think he's doing a phenomenal job at Man City. I think he's always playing. I think he's the one. I think he gets them going. I think with Kamavinga, I think he needs to do the basics, just the basics. I think sometimes he does too much.
Absolutely.
I feel sometimes he tries. He's skillful. We know he's blessed.
Just to keep it simple.
Just keep it simple and move the ball around. Sometimes he turns into traffic. He turns into trouble. He goes the wrong direction when he gets the ball, and sometimes I feel like maybe because of the tactics that Ancelotti has told them to play, they kept going backwards rather than going forward. And I feel if they were going forward, the pace of Rodri and Vinicius and even Valverde and Jude Bellingham would have hurt Man City sometimes on the counter. And I think they also too were wasteful in terms of the chances that Madrid had. Madrid didn't have a lot of chances because people say they didn't have shots on target, but they did have chances. It's just they wasted the ball at in the last third. And I feel that's why people said, "Oh, they didn't have chances or they didn't have shots on target."
Foden, Jude. First leg, I thought Jude didn't play well in the first leg, and I thought in the first leg at Bernabeu, he was a bit more childish in his play. You know, a lot of unnecessary back heels and stuff like that, and wrong touches, over twisting and overturning. I thought it wasn't necessary, and City kept a very professional, very highly professional game in the Bernabeu because they knew that if they can play well at the Bernabeu at Etihad, they were gonna kill the game off. You know, in the second leg, we found Jude, who played more maturely, who controlled, worked his socks off as well. Let's not forget that his work rate in that game was solid. You know, works his socks off. He played for the team as well, off the ball. You know, even when they didn't have the ball, you saw him running across the whole of midfield, supporting every part of the midfield from left to right to the middle. So I thought it was a very, very clinical performance from Jude in the second leg. But I don't know what you think about Jude, Phil Foden. Foden, for me, on the second half, I thought he wasn't getting his chances from the left, so he tried to drift into the middle where, you know, this season he's created a lot of problem. But I think Madrid's shape always forced him a bit deeper, you know, into creating more chances or coming out front.
Yeah, a lot of people said he should play in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he believes that he could do damage from the middle. But I think with the formation and the way Madrid was compact, the middle was, I think he could have gone to the right and then drifting towards the middle and take a shot. He had better chance because that's the same thing he done on the first leg, which he had better chance by drifting in. But I think when you're in the middle, it's just so compact that you do not get that chance because they were there. And with Jude, the first leg, I believe the first leg in the game, I feel like Madrid players were up to it and they wanted to play, they wanted to have fun with the game and they wanted to challenge themselves. But I think after the 3-3, they played the first game at Bernabeu, I think they went home, they must have thought,
we need to qualify.
If we qualify, we'll knock them out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how we qualify, but by qualifying. And I think you could tell that they wanted to attack, but they kept coming back to being compact. And I think when they come back to be compact, you can see that they wanted to, it's more about the trophy than...
They worked as a team.
Than outshining or becoming the man. So you can see what their goal was getting to that final, picking up that trophy rather than saying,
individuals.
we could beat City at their game. And I think it sometimes we as fans don't want to see that. We want to see the talent on the display, but then when you look at the Champions League as a whole, you think, you know what?
This is the trophy.
This is a trophy. So, and they played that way.
That brings us back to this point as well. Valverde, Bernardo Silva. So Valverde, Bernardo Silva.
I think they both played very well.
I think Valverde's work rate, you know.
I think they both play very well, but Valverde, that's the problem. I think people do not understand that he has the skill to do a lot of stuff, but he puts in more of a team performance than individual performance. I think he sacrificed a lot of his football,
his legs,
for the team. Yeah.
It was almost about 120 minutes, and he was still running.
Yeah, that's what I said. He puts a lot of performance for the team. So he's a team player. So he, for me, is the equivalent of Rodri for Man City. They put the team before their personal goals and personal needs. And you can see by the way he plays. And he still had the energy to keep going even at extra time. So, and Bernardo Silva, like, I know he missed the penalty,
But he played really well.
but he played so
I
well
gotta be
that
honest.
you can't fault him.
He all constantly force, passes into the middle. And yes, Mendy for me on the day, I thought Mendy was, Fernand Mendy was fantastic. But I also believe that Bernardo Silva played really,
he
really
played
well.
well.
He gave City that width.
He was
Hence,
excellent.
that's why, Pep didn't take him off to bring another white player, because what he was doing there, he had the opportunity to either go direct or come in. And to have a player who can, go play those both roles at the same time with a high intensity and such a very clever style of playing, I thought he did amazing, in my opinion.
I think he has not replaced Ike Gundogan because
No
of
way.
Bernardo Silva.
Yes.
Because I think Bernardo Silva does what Ike Gundogan was doing for them last season. I know he doesn't run through the middle most times because he stays on the wide,
Yeah.
but I feel that when he's on the pitch, I'm more worried for him than most of the other players in Man City.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne going to split the team up with a pass. We know this, but I think when I see Bernardo Silva, for me, once he's not on the pitch and Rodry's not on the pitch, I'm a bit more relaxed playing them because I believe if they don't have those two players, I believe the engine of Man City is gone because I feel he seems like he determines the pace that they play the football with. He's not the Rodri, but he's just another engine part of the team. So he had a very good game. And also, people said, "Oh, yeah, he had a bad penalty. He took a bad penalty. If the keeper if the keeper dived and the penalty went in, we wouldn't be speaking about it." So
Absolutely.
when you miss the penalty,
Everyone
say
comes to
we have
you.
a topic. But if you score the penalty, because Benzema did the same thing against City, he chipped the goalkeeper. So if you have that calmness to chip a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout and it doesn't come off,
It's just football.
it's football. It happens sometime, and he rewarded Man City with the FA Cup final the next game. So it shows that sometimes these players, they take the chances. For you to be great, you have to
football,
take the risk. If you take the risk, if it comes off, you're great. If it doesn't come off, you made a mistake.
Lunin, Ederson.
I think Lunin is.
This in swing, every time the ball came, the in swing crosses came in. Lunin was found wanting. Yes, penalties. He was a hero. He did so well.
But
He saved. He gave Madrid the lifeline, and for the first time in the second leg, he hardly made basic mistakes. He was very focused. Some of the shots that were coming through, he never blinked. He always kept his eyes on the ball, first to the ball, second to the ball. Yeah. Even the rebounds, it's the way he fisted some of the balls. So I just thought on the day, I thought Lunin was fantastic. And he took his saves that put Madrid through. Ederson, for me, I thought was also good because obviously there was a lot of pressure on him on that day. But he was brave enough to take a penalty.
Well, I think Ederson could play in so many positions on the football pitch. I don't think he can only be a goalkeeper. I think he can play. I actually believe he can play midfield.
Left back?
Probably.
Yeah. So left footed.
So I think he can actually play very well. I think he can actually, because he has the vision. He has the skill to connect the ball wherever he wants the ball to go to for a goalkeeper. And then the confidence to step up to take a penalty is ridiculous for a goalkeeper. So, but then when he stepped up, I was never worried.
Yeah.
I was more worried for certain players stepping up than him stepping up, because I never had, when he comes out to kick the ball, or he never bothers me. But so I think he had a good game. Then Lunin, okay, let's put it like this: he's the choice goalkeeper for Madrid at one point.
Yeah.
If Courtois was around and not injured, he wouldn't be in the goal.
But in this season, he was the third choice because Courtois and then Kepa came in to kind of back up Courtois. And you knew in the start of the season where Ancelotti kept rotating both of them, and then he finally settled on Lunin. Just the in-swing crosses that were coming in, because probably he doesn't seem to... a little weakness for him. He needs to work on that as well. But I want us to talk about Rodrygo, because I've been in rooms and I've been into different kind of conversation with people, in football sphere, and people always think Rodrygo is not world class. They just think that he's not that type of player. It's because he plays for Madrid. That's why he's always getting that hype that we're always talking about. But Ancelotti did a very tactical change, on the first two legs. What he did basically was he shifted him to the left, and he brought Vini a bit more to central, and a bit of free roll for Vini to attack. Let's not forget that Rodrygo, before Madrid signed him from Santos, he was so good on the left. He used to play from the left where Neymar had left that void in Santos. Attacking from the left like Ronaldo, like what's his name? All these type of right-footed strikers coming from there, including Mbappe and all these players. So he prefers being on the left. But then he comes to Madrid, and then he's got Vini on the left. And then his role switches to the right because he needs to get into the team.
Yeah.
And then he starts operating and playing from the right. But every time he's played on the left, or Vini's injured, or he's been put on the left, he creates chances and he scores goals. Now, can we say that he's not just a Champions League player, but he's world class? Or he's not world class yet?
Okay, the word world class, a lot of people tend to use them these days.
Exactly.
What is the definition of world class?
I mean, let's look at his qualities, what he brings to the fore, and the levels, and because sometimes you got brilliant footballers, but they never cross the barrier to become world class. Yes, they have the talent.
Yeah.
Yes, they play for some of the big teams. They've got good teammates around them. But Rodrygo, as an individual player, would you say he's a world class? Because people say, oh, Saka is world class. I don't think Saka is world class yet. I just think Saka is on his way.
Saka is on his way.
He's on his way. Yeah. I don't think he's super or he's world class yet. No. But Rodrygo as a player, do you think that he's there, he's arrived? Or even if he hasn't arrived, is he world class to you yet?
I think he is, because I think what people forget to understand is when you play for Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, you have constant pressure. The pressure you have to deliver week in, week out is not the same pressure you have when you play for, let's say, a team like Tottenham, or because there's a different...
No disrespect
to Tottenham, but there's different levels to how you operate. So for me, when you have a player like Rodrygo that comes from Santos with that high praise, and then if you look at big games in Madrid, he tends to turn up.
That's the key.
He tends to turn up, and consistently he scores a number of goals every season and assists consistently, and most times off the bench. So the question people keep saying he's not world class is they watch more about the goals and the assists you make rather than what you do on the pitch, rather than what problems you cause to the other teams. And if we say Rodrygo is not world class because he doesn't score more goals or doesn't do more assists, then we can start going back and start taking some of the great players off the list because they never had more goals and assists. So I can start ticking off Zidane first of all, because he was world class. But okay, absolutely. We can tick him off because he never had goals. I don't think he had a season where he scored 15 goals this season. No. So we can take him off the list.
It's how he dictated the game, the tempo and the rhythm.
And I think when you look at Rodrygo, for someone playing out of position, I always say to people, out of position, because every footballer likes a position they like to play in. Once you take them out of that position, only a few footballers can shine. The rest cannot shine because their favorite position is gone. So the example I'm going to give is when Mbappe comes, somebody has to give on the left. Because Vinicius plays on the left, Mbappe plays on the left. They both love the left. So one of them has to play as a striker.
I think Madrid is not going to let Vini go from the left. I think the whole idea of bringing Mbappe is for somebody to play in the middle. But again, Mbappe has the quality to make that movement.
I think he can move all three positions.
He has the quality to move into the middle. And I don't think they're going to keep him in because this project is going to be like half Mbappe, half an existing team already, because he brings a lot of quality to the team as well. So he's going to play more through the middle. But it's football, so the movement is always going to mesmerize you.
Yeah, that's why I think I hope all three of them stays, because we'll see a dynamic of movement if they play. Because
what system do you think should Mbappe join? What system do you think they go? They go 4-3-3, and forbade the 4-4-2. You know, the 4-4-2 always has a variation to it, because sometimes the 4-4-2, what they do, because it's diamond, they play 4-2-1-2.
Yeah.
4-2-1-2, but all in the same 4-4-2 system.
Yeah.
You know, with a variation. But then obviously the two matches with City has been different variations as well. They
Yeah.
pack the bars, let them have the ball and just break the lines through. So what do you think when should Mbappe join Real Madrid? As we know, it looks like he's going to join. Did they go 4-3-3?
I think he might go 4-3-3. I think
But then
because
that exposes the midfield as well for Madrid.
that's another concern. But then who do you go? What midfield would he play? So I think sometimes I feel I think they might go 4-4-2 actually.
But anyway, we've come to a very interesting end of tonight's episode. This is episode 4. We've been breaking the game down tactically about Real Madrid and Manchester City. One of the most talked about two matches that nobody knew where it was going to go, whether it was going to go City or Madrid. But finally, Madrid happened to have eliminated City out of the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and they are in the semi-finals. And soon they'll be playing Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena as the first leg, and the return leg coming back to Estadio Santiago de Bernabeu, where the second leg will be played. Does it give Real Madrid a chance to win the Champions League, or will Bayern do it again? Or, nobody knows where it's going to go. That's why it's called the Champions League. Anyway, stick and stay, but do not forget that this is Football Thoughts 360. Please do subscribe. And of course, watch us on YouTube as we put up episode every week. We'll be coming your way every week. And so next week, obviously, we're bringing you about the Champions League and the first leg with Madrid and Bayern Munich or in Allianz Arena, and then the vice versa as well. Arsenal couldn't maintain the heat from Bayern Munich as Bayern progressed to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Just a bit of masterclass on Arsenal, and here we are again. Thank you so much. My name is Kojo Ejejima, and I've been joined by my partner here, colleague called King. Thank you. Stick and stay with us.